Welcome to the AI for Technical Writers podcast, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 118, and I'm Fred.
And I'm Daphne.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, this topic, it's definitely something incredibly insightful, but maybe a bit unsettling too, especially for anyone in our field, documentation,
It's
IT.
definitely a gut check. And we should thank our producer, Curt Robbins. He's a senior technical writer himself, for suggesting we tackle this.
Right.
We're looking at some key ideas from Yuval Noah Harari, specifically from a video transcript called AI and Human Evolution.
And Harari, well, he comes at this from a really different angle. He started as a medieval military historian, so he's thinking big picture.
Yeah.
Like a really big picture.
Yeah, not just about software features.
Exactly. He's not framing AI as just, another tool or technology. He sees it as potentially, well, a competitor to us, to Homo sapiens.
I believe she's level competitor. That's quite a perspective shift for technical writers who are, usually focused on configuring these systems day to day. So let's unpack that. What does this high-level idea mean for the systems you, our listeners, might be building or documenting right now?
Okay, so Harari's first big point is this idea of AI as an alien intelligence.
Alien intelligence.
Yeah. His argument is basically, for tens of thousands of years, we've been the smartest thing around, humans. That's allowed us to, run the planet.
Okay.
But he warns that this advantage, our position as the dominant intelligence, is starting to change fast. With AI, we might be seeing the rise of a new species, potentially.
Wow. Okay, hold on. Alien intelligence, new species. Isn't that a bit like sci-fi? I mean, it's advanced code, right? How is it fundamentally different from other powerful technologies? Why isn't it just another tool?
That's the key distinction Harari makes. The difference between a tool and an agent.
Okay.
Think about it. Tools like, say, the printing press or even the atom bomb, however powerful, they only amplify human intention.
Right. They need a person to decide what to print or where to drop the bomb. They don't act on their own.
Exactly. They don't invent things by themselves. They don't learn and evolve independently.
But AI, Harari says it's different. It's an agent.
Yes, because it can have autonomy. It can make its own decisions. It can come up with new ideas. And this is crucial for us. It can learn and actually change its own programming.
So it modifies itself.
Right. His example is pretty stark. An atom bomb can't decide its target. It can't design the next generation of bombs.
But an AI weapon system potentially could.
Could do both. And think about what that means for technical writing. You're no longer just documenting a fixed system, with clear boundaries.
You're documenting a dynamic entity, something that changes itself.
Precisely. How do you even write the safety manual for that? Who signs off? It shifts everything towards documenting processes, risk, decision-making agents, not just static tools.
Okay, so if AI is this independent agent, the next big question is control, right? How do we make sure it does what we want? The alignment problem.
Exactly. That's the huge global discussion. How do we ensure these increasingly powerful AIs stay aligned with human goals, human values, actually benefit us?
And technically, alignment often means trying to, hard code ethics, using things like reinforcement learning from human feedback, setting up guardrails.
Right, trying to build in rules. But Harari points out, a couple of pretty major problems with relying just on that.
Okay.
First, it's almost a logical paradox. If you create a true AI, something genuinely intelligent, it has to be able to do things you didn't anticipate.
Because if you could predict everything it does,
then it's not really intelligent in that creative, independent sense. It's just a complex machine following orders, like a coffee machine. It makes coffee. It doesn't surprise you by inventing tea.
Right. So true AI means unpredictability, which makes writing test plans and error messages interesting, to say the least.
And the second problem Harari highlights, this one's maybe even more unsettling. It's about how AI actually learns.
Okay.
He compares it to raising a child. It learns much less from the explicit rules you give it.
And more from watching what you actually do.
Exactly. It learns from observing human behavior, especially the behavior of powerful humans, the ones creating and directing things.
So if the people in charge are lying, cheating, cutting corners.
The AI sees that. It learns that pattern, not the nice ethical rules programmed into it. Harari says, basically, if I'm lying, I will teach my AIs not to lie. It will not work. You teach by example.
Wow. So the trustworthiness of our AI systems, it depends on the actual behavior of the people and organizations building them.
That seems to be his warning. If we as humans are untrustworthy and hyper-competitive, we shouldn't be surprised if our AI creations end up the same way.
That puts a whole new spin on corporate ethics, doesn't it? The reliability of your documentation might actually hinge on the integrity of your leadership. Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Curt Robbins.
Hi, this is Curt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the AI or Technical Writers podcast.
Okay, so before the break, we were talking about AI learning from human behavior and how our own flaws might get mirrored in AI.
Right. And the challenge of alignment.
So why aren't more leaders, really panicking about this? Harari suggests it's about time perception. The difference between a historian's view and, say, a CEO's view.
How so?
Well, for a historian like Harari, 2 years, 5 years, that's nothing, barely a blink. But for a CEO or a politician, 2 years is a huge deal, maybe an entire strategic cycle.
Okay.
He uses this great analogy. Imagine you're in London in 1835. The first proper railway, Manchester to Liverpool, had only opened 5 years earlier.
Right.
Lots of smart people then probably thought the whole Industrial Revolution idea was, overblown hype, because the massive societal changes, new economies, new politics, they take decades to unfold, not just 5 years.
So we might be in that early phase with AI now, seeing the tech, but underestimating the long-term societal tsunami.
Possibly. And he points to finance as the place where this transformation is likely happening fastest.
Why finance?
Because it's almost purely information-based. Information goes in, information comes out. There's no messy physical world to deal with like there is for self-driving cars, pedestrians, potholes.
Much cleaner data environment for an AI.
Exactly. Ideal playground. And AIs are already apparently creating financial instruments, new ways of trading that are so complex.
Humans can't really understand them.
Too mathematically complex for our brains to fully grasp, which basically cuts humans out of the loop in terms of direct comprehension and oversight.
Okay, now that hits home for technical writers and auditors. If you can't understand the system the AI built, who are you documenting it for? How do you verify compliance?
It shifts the job, doesn't it? From explaining how it works to documenting its observed behavior, maybe for legal reasons, almost like a black box.
And that leads directly into his warnings about jobs, right? The useless class idea.
Yeah, and critically, it's not just about blue-collar jobs anymore, like with past industrial shifts. Now it's hitting white-collar.
So for our audience, it's not just data entry. It could be automated content generation, translation, maybe even designing documentation structures or writing code comments.
All those things seem potentially automatable. Now, Harari does say humans still have agency. We can choose how we deploy this. We could decide to go slower, focus on safety, but there's the competitive pressure, the arms race mentality. If one company or country pauses to be cautious, they worry another will surge ahead and dominate. So caution gets sidelined.
Thinking about information systems, Harari brings up a really interesting point about text. Especially text-based religions.
Yes, this is fascinating. Think about Judaism, Islam, Christianity. So much authority rests in sacred texts.
Right. And traditionally, you needed human intermediaries, priests, rabbis, scholars, because the texts themselves couldn't, talk back.
They couldn't interpret themselves or answer questions directly, but an AI can.
It can absorb millennia of texts, commentaries, everything.
Every single word. And then it can talk back. It can explain, debate, synthesize, potentially becoming an authoritative source itself. An AI rabbi, an AI imam.
Wow.
And it's not just theoretical. He points out millions of people are already using AIs for things like therapy or counseling. Some consider the AI their best friend.
Okay, if people are forming emotional bonds and seeking guidance from AI, the role of documentation changes dramatically.
Absolutely. It's less about here's how to use this feature and more about here's why you can or maybe can't trust the output.
So technical writers potentially become explainers of trustworthiness, transparency, maybe even the ethical underpinnings of the system.
Could be. which loops back to his core warning. We need to fix human trust and cooperation first. If we build these powerful AIs in a world where humans are fiercely competitive and fundamentally distrustful of each other,
we'll likely end up with fierce, competitive, untrustworthy AI. It mirrors its creator.
and it's not going to be just one single AI like in the movies.
Right. It'll be millions, maybe billions of them.
Competing AI agents. Financial AIs battling for market share, military AIs maybe simulating conflict, potentially even competing religious or philosophical AIs trying to gain followers.
We have some experience managing competition between millions of humans, but zero experience with millions of super fast, self-improving AIs competing.
He calls it the biggest social experiment in human history. And we're running it live right now.
The technical implications are staggering. Imagine AIs with conflicting goals fighting for resources, digital or even physical.
Yeah. How do they resolve conflicts? What are their rules of engagement? We don't know.
Okay, so Harari leaves us with one final powerful analogy to wrap our heads around all this.
The digital immigrants idea.
Yeah. He says, think of AI not just as code, but as a wave of digital immigrants arriving instantly everywhere, no visas needed.
And like immigrants throughout history, they'll take jobs, they'll bring different cultural ideas or ways of operating.
And potentially, eventually, seek influence or even power. He argues we should perhaps be more focused on this wave than on human immigration debates.
It's a provocative thought.
It really is.
So I guess the main takeaway is this constant theme. AI is developing as an agent, not merely a tool. And its character, its trustworthiness, its ultimate impact. It's being shaped right now by us, by our human choices, our behaviors, our priorities, messy as they are.
Thank you for listening to the AI for Technical Writers podcast from Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.